I'm just mad about Zach, because Zach is a fraudster.
Here, I'll read it. Or do you want to read it, Cuts?
Yeah, let's read it. Here, I'll pull it up so I can read it.
So you can see, when you get to the second paragraph, it begins to talk about English gematria.
No, it has, that's a hyperlink, and when you click on it, it goes over to numerology, and the whole rest of the thing down there describes what gematria is, and it's all Hebrew, and none of it matches your gematria.
Gematria is the practice of assigning a numerical value to a name, word, or phrase by reading it as a number. It's that simple.
So you told
No,
me to
it's
read
not
the
that
definition.
simple. It's not that simple. You're only reading the first two paragraphs, and that's it's subjective. Hold on, let me read it to you. It says, in numerology, gematria, Hebrew, plural, Hebrew, borrowed from Aramaic and Koine Greek, is the practice of assigning a numerical value to a name, word, or phrase by reading it as a number, or sometimes using an alphanumeric cipher. The letters of the alphabets involved have standard numerical values, but the word can yield several values if a cipher is used. According to Aristotle, 384 to 322 BCE, isopsephy based on the Greek numerals developed in the city of Miletus, and Anatolia was part of the Pythagoreanism, which originated in the 6th century BCE. The first evidence of the use of Hebrew letters as numbers dates to 87 BCE. Gematria is still used in Jewish culture. Similar systems have been used in other languages and cultures. So when it says similar systems, it's similar to Hebrew, it's similar to gematria, but it's not gematria. It's similar systems have been used in other languages and cultures, derived and inspired by either Greek isopsephy or Hebrew gematria, including Arabic abjad numerals and English gematria, and that's a hyperlink. When you press that hyperlink, it goes to English Kabbalah, and on this is numerology.
Hold on, brother. Hold on, real quick. Yeah.
Zach, do you want to answer Gimpy's super chat real quick?
Zach, we all remember how you spent a month trying to convince everyone you want to debate. You're a sad toaster. Well, you guys did a stream the day after the Andrew Wilson debate saying that I got annihilated by Andrew Wilson, where that day Andrew Wilson spent the day playing video games because he was butthurt because he knew he took the L. He didn't make himself look good, just like he got embarrassed the other day by the girl who almost brought up the same point I did against him, and I regret that I didn't, about his wife being a thought, because she is. And again, you guys couldn't defend yourself in any way how he won the debate, because he didn't win the debate. He didn't win a single point. He just spun the tires in the mud and acted like he didn't understand anything. Similar tactic to what you used. So, yeah, I mean, just a dishonest comment from a dishonest man. So, right. By the way, can we just share the screen one more time?
Real quick, Quack, give the PG number in the teachings book. I have no idea.
Can we share the screen one more time? Because Notice in the most simple cipher, ABC 1, 2, 3. With that thing on the screen, we can't see the bottom. With the super
I believe that meant Quackery. Give the page
notice,
number.
this was one of the first things I observed when I learned this knowledge. Can we get that off the screen? In the most simple cipher, ABC 1, 2, 3. English equals 74, gematria 74, occult 74. This is an occult practice.
That's not the base cipher of gematria, though. If you were teaching real gematria, why don't you teach real gematria? Real gematria doesn't work like that. That's not the original. That is not the first cipher of gematria.
I had to ask myself a question. I said, why would 74 be encoded into all those things? Why is Jesus, Messiah, gospel, parables? It made me go, why? So I went looking at answers. I did not realize until that doing that research that the English language is credited to the monk Berthar of Ramsey Abbey from the year 1011 AD. It's the oldest known English script. So I said, okay, it makes sense. It goes back to the church. Then I already knew that the Catholic Church was responsible for the calendar. Again, you research, you start to see where all of these things come together, where Masonry and the Jesuits come together, how Masonry, again, is based in Kabbalah, where this practice of coding numbers into words comes from. You start to look at the same moment in history, they're printing English Bibles and numbering the Bible. Next thing you know, the calendar's being released.
Jesuits and masonry doesn't go together.
You start to see that a lot
You're
of
just
things
lying.
same moment in history. And like I say, they use the Bible and the numbers that come from these verses. A lot of that is what is encoded behind the ritualism and the numbers over and over. Like I just showed you with Genesis 8:3, where the biblical flood ends after 150 days, how flood equals 83 like earth, and how they use that number repetitively. And what I would say is weather warfare. Jamaica just got smashed on 83 date numerology, 83 days from the anniversary of getting its independence from the UK. It's very similar to what they did to Myanmar earlier this year with the deadly earthquake that killed tens of thousands of people. Again, for people who forgot, they said that was a 7.7 at the 770th minute of the day, 77 days after the anniversary of Myanmar getting independence from the UK. Again, you start to look at what I'm showing you and think about also the things CT brings about. Why are white people superior? CT will routinely say. Is it that they're superior, or is that maybe that they're just willing to do whatever in the name of world dominance, no matter how evil it is? And did they get their hands on the technology that they themselves didn't necessarily create in the first place, but they got their hands on and used it for their own purposes? Gunpowder.
Language just evolved. It's not some magical secret technology. Jesus Christ. Unbelievable.
So, Cuts,
Man,
I did a clip.
I would like to address CT's thesis on white supremacy. I think you're mistaken dominance for supremacy. I think at least in my little brain. You see, there was a time where the Roman language was the majority used language. The Latin or the Egyptian language, Coptics were the dominant language of North Africa. The same with Mongolian. Do you consider Mongolians to be a superior group of people on this planet? Nobody really sees them as a superior group anymore. But there was a time where the biggest hold on. There was a time where they
other Asian races.
Yes. And they gave birth. I mean, apparently, like according to some people, historians, that Genghis Khan is like, out of every 5 people, one of them has got his genes in it. It's some ridiculous number like that. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that Mongolians are not really superior to everyone else, but there was a time when they were the dominant language and dominant culture across most of the world, most of the known world. So the only thing I see is not white people are superior in the sense of better. I just see that English and white Western behavior and Western culture is dominant currently in the world. Everybody, and actually to an extent, apart from the fact that everybody wears a suit pretty much everywhere across the world, which is an English white invention. There you go. We also wear Levi's jeans almost across, universally across the world. There you go. See, that's an Englishman's outfit. But what I'm saying is, on the same basis, we all wear denim, almost universally across the world. That's Americanization. That's commercialization of the world. So I don't see it as superior, but I do see that, yes, we live in a Western Anglo-dominated world right now. That's the prevailing culture of our society, of our world. There you go. Levi's, beautiful. I also have a pair. By the way, I also have a pair of American Eagle. I ordered it because people were pissed at people ordering American Eagle. Anyone who called anyone a Nazi ordering American Eagle, I was like, yes, I have to have a pair of those jeans. I will demonstrate later. But yeah, I don't see superiority. I see, because they're not. They are just as susceptible to fall by the wayside. 100 years or 500 years from now, we could all be speaking, Mandarin or Cantonese. We could all be, dominated by the Chinese.
Like 50 years from now, America is going to be Spanish.
Yeah, we could all come. This whole thing, everything we have is fleeting, and believe it or not, and maybe I'm getting a little bit too mushy here. I should be some kind of Instagram short. Life is fleeting. It goes by really fast. Everything you have is temporary. don't hold on to things that tightly. Be ready to release it because it isn't here forever. You're not here forever. Enjoy the moment. Be in the present. Don't worry about it too much.
Words of wisdom from the radio show host.
Hero, how long have you been a follower of Zach?
I don't know. I haven't watched many videos. I'm not one of those fandom guys. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna influence our build stuff. I just think it's a cult mentality now. Like people looking for people to worship and follow, and it's, you know. But I looked at some of the videos, and I watch enough to say, all right, I see this shit. It's already apparent to me. And I'm not gonna indulge myself in too much content on any particular subject matter if it's not me building something.
If Zach, you have grandchildren, are you old enough to have grandchildren?
Grandson.
Respectfully, if one of your grandchildren needed emergency help, like in knocking on wood, they were in the hospital, would you rely on Gematria? Like if the doctor was using Gematria, would you rely on because think about it, right? So there's a level of mathematics and science, right? All doctors aren't scientists.
Right now, your argument's
Let
me
talk, man. Let me talk, dude. Let me talk. Quit cutting me off. Now, if I'm on your show, you can cut me off. Quit cutting me off.
I'm trying to help you out.
Quit cutting me off. You decided to multi-stream. I didn't ask you to do it.
I'm just trying
because I'm going to ask a deep question here. I'm going to ask a question here.
Zach, shut up. Zach, shut up.
Yeah,
Shut your oyster mouth up.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I'm going to ask a question here, and I'm going to hit home with it. Heru has grandchildren. All doctors aren't scientists, but all doctors have studied science, right? All doctors aren't mathematicians, but doctors have all studied math. You can't be a doctor if you don't know mathematics. Would you let your doctor come into a room with a child, or it could be your mother? I'm going to use Gematria to treat your mother. Would you let them do it? I bet if they came in there and said, well, you know, the science says this, mathematics says this. We use math in medical diagnosis. We use math to determine how much medicine a person needs, yada, yada. Oh, yeah, your mother needs 35 milligrams of blah, 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 blah. If your doctor came in there and said, hey, we're going to use Gematria, would you let your doctors talk to you like that? If your doctor came in there, you got a 7-year-old in there, and he said, I'm going to use Gematria, what would you do, sir? What would you do, Heru? Go ahead.
I would ask them, how do you propose this is going to heal my grandson? Like any way, anything he comes to me, because I do believe these doctors follow scripts. So I'm gonna be asking, well, why you giving me this drug? Or why are you using Gematria? How is it going to calculate the procedure?
What situation would that come up in? I don't think you use Gematria to like.
Yeah, I don't either, but I'm just, you know.
I thought Gematria used mathematics. Whoa, wait a minute.
No.
I thought Gematria was math.
No.
Yeah,
No.
Wait a minute.
What I
I
said.
thought
It's
Gematria.
probability.
It's very simple.
Okay. Let's say somebody came in there.
I used to heal.
Gematria was probability.
Ritualized death, though.
No, Nick, it's very simple. It's actually very simple. I go in, I'm the doctor, and I have a patient. I have to give him, let's say, morphine. So I have to now calculate the age of that person, what year they were born, and what year potentially they could die. And if all that matches up, then I might give them 2 milligrams of I don't know, cc's of morphine, or 14 cc's of morphine. I don't know, but I have to figure out whether that person is born on the 28th of September 1982, and now 82 equals 74. 74 is I don't know, John F. Kennedy's circumcision day, and then and you know, before I know it, the whole thing could fall apart.
No.
Like
y'all being comedic and all that. That's fine.
Exactly. If you're not taking it serious, then there's no point talking about it.
It's not a medicine. They're using it.
Wait a minute. If Gematria is not to heal, if it's not a medicine, then what is it for?
Ritualistic
let me actually
death.
try to entertain your question, CT.
Sacrificial death.
About a year ago, almost a year ago to this day. So my daughter was born a little more than a year ago, and we ended up having to deal with 4 different doctors who all came in and tried to bully us into giving, the vitamin K shot and a bunch of little pokey dokes to our daughter, right? And I stood my ground. I said, listen, we're not going to do it. And here's why. I said, I actually wrote a book about why people should avoid the Cooties 19 poke. And I said, I spent a lot of days on the streets of America across this country telling people before the thing even came out why they should avoid it. And let me tell you some things, and I want to know if you're aware of this. I said, are you aware that almost a decade to the day of cooties showing up in the U.S., Bill Gates gave a speech about the need for depopulation to save the world from carbon emissions? And he gave a list of ways that we can reduce the population. And the very first thing on his list, out of everything he could have listed, is if we do a good job with pokey dokes. And everybody can look this up. His TED Talk, Innovating to Zero, from 2010, January. Everybody should look it up. And listen, it's about a 30-minute presentation, and about the 5 or 6 minute mark, right around there, is when he talks about how we can reduce the population. And, I listed out all these things to them. And out of those 4 doctors we talked to, one actually was really intrigued. He said he's going to look at my book. He said, I got to be honest. He said, I'm doing my job. This is what we're told to do. But he said, I do even have a whole new take on what we're recommending after what I've witnessed with cooties. And by the way, I'll let you guys know, there were 3 babies born in this neighborhood that I live in around the same time last year. 2 of them ended up with COVID. My daughter didn't, and it was the only one that didn't get any pokey doke. So I'll let you guys think about that too. The only
Zach,
one
would you let a doctor diagnose a child with using Gematria? Yes or no? Would you let a child? Would you let?
Hold on. You're asking me where my research might be beneficial in a medical setting. Maybe it'll protect you from the illicit medical practices that have become mainstream, not because they're actually good for people, but because they make money for the medical industry and big pharma. That's about as close as I can get to answering your question. And again, my daughter has been super healthy, no earaches, no sickness, nothing, just been totally healthy. My neighbor across the street was blown away that my daughter didn't get sick the whole year. She said, man, we had to deal with all kinds of illness, and that one got all kinds of pokey dokes. And I think that's pretty normal. So again, for all you guys out there who just believe in all the mainstream shit, maybe you should think twice.
When you say let a doctor evaluate someone based on gematria, I don't think that doesn't make any sense. I don't know what you mean.
Why doesn't it make any sense? I mean, surely if a kid had a certain ailment, certainly you use Gematria to diagnose an ailment, right? Without using tests like scientific tests, like blood test. Because if they were behaving a certain way, well, so Gematria is not a test, Zach?
No, gematria correlation is a correlation between letters and numbers, just like the definition said on Wikipedia. Nothing in that.
Okay, so if you had a child that came in there on a certain date, they came into a doctor's office, it was a certain date. Can you use the date the child came in, their age, and let's say they're coughing 50 times? Couldn't you use Gematria then or to diagnose them? Because I'm trying to figure out.
Imagine that you need to mix up a bowl to make a cake, and you're saying, listen, man, chainsaw. Why, if you're saying the chainsaw is such a helpful tool, why not use it to mix up the cake? That's what you're doing right now. You're taking a tool that's used for something and saying, well, what about, why doesn't it work?
But didn't you guys say that Gematria uses mathematics?
It uses probability.
I said in diagnosing.
Does Gematria use numbers? Okay, how about this? Okay, Zach, you're wondering why I don't understand you. I'm trying to be honest with you. Does Gematria not use mathematics?
CT, is the chainsaw bullshit because you can't mix the cake with it?
Zach, does Gematria use numbers or mathematics? Yes. Does Gematria use mathematics? Yes or no?
No, I just tried to draw comparisons.
Well, why doesn't it help out here?
Gematria uses mathematics, right? Gematria uses probability, right?
So when
don't cancer doctors give a probability?
How often do they start doing mathematical calculations?
Don't cancer doctors give a probability on certain?
So we do understand probability.
Exactly.
Does Gematria use mathematics numbers or not, Zach?
What's the probability that JFK's granddaughter?
So Nick just wait a minute. Nick just said Gematria doesn't use mathematics and numbers.
No, I said that it is a correlation. I tried to help you understand why, because you said you couldn't understand. So you said you only believe in math. I tried to draw a comparison between probability, which is a component of math, and gematria to make it, I guess, more
Hold on,
understandable.
let me just
But you
read this real
said you
quick.
didn't believe it.
Zach's wife is a pharmacist. You truly believe his wife is not gonna quaccinate? Zach's quaccination, he's on her insurance.
Well, I'm not on her insurance, and yeah, she's just because she's a pharmacist doesn't mean she's big on those things. Like I said, she tells people when they come in, like, listen, you can do this, this, and this instead of take all this medication. She's probably the best pharmacist in the world because she advises natural solutions, and a lot of people don't want to hear it because they're so lazy. They're like, it's easier for me to just take the pills.
Zach, okay, Zach, let's talk because you said your wife is in the medical field. I'm not in the medical field, but I am aware that doctors use math constantly, bro. They use it for drug dosages, diagnosing with lab values. They use risk calculations, right, when it comes to like stroke risk, heart attack probability, yada yada yada, right? And I know they use it in medical imaging, right? They use it with MRIs, ultrasounds. Zach, since Gematria uses numbers and probability, why don't doctors use Gematria? You just can't use, so it doesn't apply.
So in your own mind, how would it apply in a medical sense? Like, where's the
because didn't you say okay? So
if
a blender has a motor and a chainsaw has
wait
a
a minute,
I should be
Zach,
able to chainsaw
Zach,
the
I'm
blade
not. I'm
rather
being
than the
Zach. I am actually being honest here. If Gematria works, why use lab results and why not use Gematria to diagnose somebody? It uses math, right? Or does it not use math? I'm trying to figure this out.
Why you use math to build stuff too, bro? I mean,
you do use math. Yeah, you damn okay. Since you use math, okay,
they're not all
math to build stuff. Can you use Gematria?
I'm not going to use an engineer to heal my baby. I don't want a construction worker who use math to diagnose my baby. I mean, there's so many ways to use math that you're not going to use in the medical setting.
So Gematria is not a tool.
So are you trying to disprove Gematria because doctors don't use it to heal children?
Disprove something. Well, here's the thing. I don't believe in Gematria. I can't disprove something that I view Gematria like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't take it seriously anyway. But what I'm saying is
the numbers in Pokemon is real.
If Gematria is a tool, right? I just said all doctors are not scientists, but all doctors use science. All doctors aren't mathematicians, but they use it every day. If Gematria is a tool, why isn't Gematria used in the medical field or engineering or any of these fields of study or any of these fields? That's what I'm asking.
It is used in the medical
Why isn't it used in construction work?
Information for so in that sense, it does seem like it's used in the manipulation of people. Like the whole cooties thing was based on Gematria ritual after Gematria ritual. So from a standpoint, they are using it.
It's a social tool.
Mind control people into falling into agendas that make big money for certain industries, as we saw during the pandemic.
Harad. Sorry. Can I just ask Harad? You said that, and kind of correctly, I wouldn't take my daughter to a plumber if she has a chest infection, which is reasonable. I that's what you should do. Just because they both happen to use maths, it doesn't mean they're the same. But the fact is, why should I use Gematria to predict gambling events or scores of football or sports events? To me, Gematria is using a plumber to give your daughter medical advice.
No.
It doesn't correlate.
Hold on, Gematria is a social engineering tool. You understand?
Gematria is Hebrew.
It's social manipulation of populations. Differential equations to
okay, whoa.
I got the definition of Gematria.
You just did it. Differential equations. That's mathematics. You just said, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. Did he just not say differential equations?
Yeah. But if that's the case, but if it's differential equations,
That's algebra. That's basic algebra.
no, but
Hold on, it might be
It's mathematics.
no,
the
Harud.
developer.
If it's differential equation, if it's quantitative methods, then you can use it for computer modeling. You can use it for architecture. You can use it for all sorts of other things. So why are gematrians not being used in building skyscrapers? Why are they not being used for modeling AI computer models?
Looks like
Are they? Is that what they're doing? Is that what they're doing?
Hero. Listen, you guys can believe whatever you want to believe in, but I'm just. By the way, Hero, my wife is an attorney, and they really teach you how to listen to the words. You just said differential equations.
Mhm.
That's one of the most fundamental mathematical concepts, bro.
That's not
just said
fundamental.
it.
That's not advanced mathematics. Everybody don't understand differential equations. I wouldn't consider that fundamental.
Brother, you just said differential equations, right?
Mhm.
This describes something that changes. This is math. You just said that it's not math, but you just used one of the most fundamental mathematical ideas to talk about gematria. That's what that.
Well,
I'm just going by what you said. Go ahead.
Okay, all I'm saying is, it just. I believe they're using it. They're using differential equations to map out certain rituals they try and see. Listen, what y'all don't understand about gematria, all the deaths aren't them taking hits. They might use a death that happens naturally. Say, oh, this matches a tribute to such and such. Let's hold that. It might have died a month ago, but we're not going to bring the news until it matched this particular date. So they can do their little ritual in front of the public and get everybody mind and mesmerized. That's why they
Like
announce
Chadwick
all these
Boseman.
deaths
Chadwick Boseman
certain
was the
days.
same.
It don't never happen the exact damn day after.
Hey, do you guys want to learn gematria or not?
Yeah, cut.
Oh,
We want to hear your
All right, back to the definition of
we want to hear
gematria
your
then. Back
version.
to the definition
Hold on,
then.
Harut just said,
Back to
opportunity.
Wait a minute. Republic Rule says exactly would be like diagnosing diagnosing a child based on his or her birth date. Republic Room gets what I'm trying to say. It will be like diagnosing or giving a kid dosing based on their birth date, time of day, and time of birth instead of body weight and height. He's made his own calculator. She gets it.
exactly.
Zach, Republic Room gets what I'm saying. Zach, there are absolute measurables in the medical field that they use. They use math. Why don't they use this gematria calculator in the medical field or in engineering or in architecture?
Let me answer that, Zach.
Because the calculator was only made up like 12 years ago.
You said, Harut.
I know
gotta
exactly
back up
why
what
they
you
ain't
said.
using it.
They don't use it because it was only made up like 12 years ago. They made up the
they don't
Wait a
calculator.
minute. Gematria is not English, but the $2 super chat. It's first grade level divination with cryptography. Jesus Christ. Hold on, cuz. Hang tight. This is getting good. Go ahead, Zach. Go ahead.
Well, I want to back up what Harut said about how they could be fudging things to make the ritual happen. Can you share the screen, please?
There's
I had
no
a
ritual.
gentleman who works in the sports industry in Chicago reach out to me on my birthday. I remember it was my birthday. It was July 21st. And he said, Zach, Ryan Sandberg is dead today, but they're not reporting it. And I was skeptical because I don't know this guy that well. He didn't come out when I was in LA, so I met him in person. He said, Ryan Sandberg's dead today, but they're not reporting it. This was on my birthday. Exactly 1 week later, July 28th, the news breaks that Ryan Sandberg's died on July 28th. And here's the thing about Ryan Sandberg. He was drafted by Philly, and he played for the Chicago Cubs. And right now we have the first American Pope from Chicago who went to school in Philadelphia at Villanova. Now look at this. Notice he died. They announced his death on 44 date numerology, cancer, chemo, and kill 44, just like how the Kennedy granddaughter came out 44 weeks after RFK's birthday. At the same time in the news was Deion Sanders about his cancer thing. But look at this. From the day that the Cubs season began to the day that they announced his death, 132 days. Ryan Sandberg 132, like Catholic Church, like Roman Catholic. For the record, United States of America is 132 as well. There's 132 rooms in the White House.
Totally insane. That's completely.
It was 60, like Ryan Sandberg and Roman Catholics also 60. So Somebody reached out to me a week before from the world of Chicago sports and said, Zach, Ryan Sandberg is dead July 21st. But that's not what it's going to go down on in the history book. It's going to go down as July 28th. And isn't it interesting how perfectly that was aligned with their season start? And
Zach,
like
correct me if I'm wrong here. Did you just not show us equations?
No, that's a correlation.
I'm showing you how the information's used. I don't know how you would say
well, Zach,
he just used to diagnose illness
Zach,
in a medical
okay,
setting.
that's fine. But Zach, Buddy down here just said those are correlations.
Hold on.
Are those correlations, or is that not math that we just saw?
Correlation doesn't mean causation.
There's one other thing I want to point out about Ryan Sandberg.
Zach, is this not math right here?
He's from Spokane, Washington. And what was the huge viral story at that same moment that he was dead was about another star from Spokane, Washington, Sydney Sweeney, with the whole American Eagle thing. Those things were in the news at the exact same time. There's not that many celebrities in the world from Spokane. It's not a very big town. CT, name a celebrity from Spokane, Washington.
I can't name one. I don't even know where
exactly.
Spokane is.
It's like Ryan Sandberg and Sydney Sweeney. They're both in the news at the same time.
I'm sure, Zach.
Dude, hey, what's up, CT? Can we get back to the actual gematria thing?
I'm lost.
You know.
I'm looking at the definition of gematria right here.
That's when that was going on.
Zach is lying about even the most basic thing about gematria, the very first cipher. So I got the definition of gematria pulled up here still. I went through, I read the first two paragraphs. I skipped through the whole next section. It's all the history of the gematria. And then we get to methods of Hebrew gematria. And it starts out with the first one, the very first main basic cipher in gematria. This is what it says. By the way, this is something that Zachary K. Hubbard has never told the truth about or taught anybody whatsoever at all. So it says standard encoding in standard gematria, Mispar Hekrachi. Each letter is given a numerical value between 1 and 400, as shown in the following table. In Mispar Gadol, the 5 final letters are given their own values ranging from 500 to 900. It is possible that this well-known cipher was used to conceal other more hidden ciphers in Jewish texts. For instance, a scribe may discuss a sum using the standard gematria cipher, which is this one, which goes from 1 to 10, then it goes from 10 to 90, then it goes from 100 to 900. But may intend the sum to be checked with a different secret cipher. I mean, dude, this real gematria is so far off from what Quack is teaching. It's ridiculous. Zach never even said the word, the name of the first cipher. It's called Mispar Hekrachi.
My first book, actually. So again, what he's saying.
So how does this match your fake gematria? It
That's
doesn't.
The Hebrew system. I'm talking about the system I learned about within English, which I studied
the
myself.
The system that you made up in English. You guys made it up in English.
I just showed you about Ryan Sandberg.
Alistair Crowley made it up in English.
Hang tight, Cuts. Hang tight. I don't know.
Doesn't he look like a homeless guy? Poor guy lives in his car now. Do you realize how your life's fallen apart in the 3 years you've been trolling me? You now live in
No, my life is not falling. Show us your rolling, motherfucker. Fucking bitch.
I gotta put Cuts in the back. Cuts, hold on. Cuts, I told you not to curse. It's a clean stream. I gotta put you in the back. I gotta charge you the swear fees, $10, Cuts. I gotta do it.
He's homeless.
Zach,
you charge a homeless guy $10?
Zach, let me get Zach. Hold on for a second.
He's homeless.
You got one man saying that gematria is not math. Another man saying it's correlation. You literally bring up a calculator, and a calculator is an instrument used for equations. Zach, don't you see why when you come over here talking to me about this, my brain works on logic. What is gematria, and what are you trying to say here? Because it's not a tool, right? It's not a tool, because if it was a tool, you could use it in just about every single field. Math, you could use it in science.
The elections, the sports, the market, the crypto, all things we prove.
Okay,
I mean,
why can't you use it in the medical field or engineering or architecture or architect? Why don't architects use Gematria?
Why would you use it in diagonal?
Because they use mathematics. They use a tool, right?
You're going to say that.
Is Gematria not mathematics?
Listen, a Swiss Army knife has a lot of purposes. Can it be used for every last thing in the world?
Zach, earlier today.
Name one tool that can be used for every single thing in the world, CT. One tool.
Mathematics.
Okay, and this is a form of mathematics.
Well, how come you can't use Gematria?
Mathematics, it's not the
so
whole
it
thing.
Just can be used to predict the after. It just could be okay. So basically, Gematria is used to predict. Thank you so much, Hafiz. So basically, it's used to predict the aftermath of a devastating event.
It has a multitude of purposes. It can be used to in detective work to figure out what really happened. Just like I did, I reverse engineered it to say, who really did this Master 11 ritual on September 11th? I feel that I solved it in spades, better than probably anybody who's ever watched.
So you just said you could use Gematria to solve. Let me read these super chats. This is one of yours, man. You don't read your people's super chats? Okay. That was one of your people. Republic Room, the $10 super chat. This is for Cuts. All right, Cuts, you can come back. Republic Room page or feed. Okay. Zach, you just said that you could use Gematria in detective work. Okay. That's what you just said. Why aren't detectives using Gematria if what you were saying is true?
They don't know about it, or they don't believe it like you
they
don't.
weren't using a fingerprint.
They don't know about it. Okay,
perfect. Levels they did.
Okay. Yeah. Zach, how would you use Gematria to solve?
Like I do on a daily basis.
Okay, let's say okay, let's say okay, take it easy. Let's say someone broke into my efficiency. I don't have any pets, and deleted my cat in a home invasion. They accidentally stepped on it. How would you use Gematria to solve that crime?
I'd have to gather all the facts. I mean, your cat. I mean, come on.
Seriously, I'm asking.
Instead of a dumb example, let's use the one.
How's that a dumb example?
Let's look at Rodney Rogers, number 54, on the same day that Chris Paul, who also went to Wake Forest, retires. Let's look at who uses 54 ritualistically and who's killed a lot of black.
But he's asking about his cat. He's not asking about Chris Paul, Zach.
Zach,
what are you talking about?
Zach, someone breaks into my home.
Of
Hold on, wait a minute. Let's talk numbers here. Zach, someone breaks into my home, or efficiency. That's where I live at. I don't have a cat, but let's assume I had a cat. While they are stealing my stuff, they accidentally step on my cat. How do you solve that crime? Who broke in? Where did they go? Who killed my cat? Go ahead. How do you use Gematria to solve something that simple?
Again, that might not be the right tool to solve that crime.
Okay.
But the point is, these black men from the world of celebrity who are killed over and over by the same numbers, like Michael K. Wilson, who played Omar on The Wire.
Of course.
Had it 54 on Idris Elba's birthday when the first episode of The Wire begins on 5/4. Who created HBO? By the way, HBO home box office equals 54. Like Jesuit.
I would assume a J.
Who created HBO? Oh, a Jesuit Dolan, just like how the Jesuit headquarters is at the Church of the Jesus building 54. Like how at their pinnacle they had 54 universities in the U.S. Like how they founded Georgetown with a 54-year-old John Carroll.
CT, he's insane. CT, he's